If you've ever wondered why some people thrive in high-stakes situations while others freeze up, this book will give you the answer. We'll explore how your brain processes risk, why fear holds you back, and how you can rewire your mind to make smarter, bolder decisions. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a dreamer, or someone who simply wants to break out of your comfort zone, this video will show you how to turn risk into your greatest advantage. So make sure to hit the like button, share this video with someone who needs inspiration, and subscribe to the channel with the bell icon on, because you don't want to miss the powerful lessons coming your way. Let's jump in and unlock the art of taking risks the smart way. Your brain on risk. Let's start with a fascinating truth. Every risk you take, every bold decision you make, starts in one place: your brain. When you stand at the edge of a cliff, decide whether to invest in a business, or even consider speaking up in a meeting, your brain launches into an incredible process. It's not random. It's a fast, highly sophisticated calculation that determines whether you'll act or back away. This process involves three powerful systems inside your brain. One, the amygdala, the fear alarm. The amygdala is your built-in security guard. The moment it senses danger, it triggers fear. That pounding heart, sweaty palms, and uneasy feeling. It's not trying to scare you for fun, it's trying to keep you alive. 2. The prefrontal cortex, the decision maker. This part of your brain acts like a wise mentor. It weighs the pros and cons, considers your goals, and compares this risk to similar situations you've faced before. If it decides the reward is worth the risk, it gives you permission to move forward. 3. The dopamine system, the reward circuit. This is what makes risk exciting. When you take a chance and succeed, dopamine floods your brain, giving you that powerful rush of happiness and satisfaction. It's the same system that makes us crave novelty and adventure. Here's where things get interesting. Not everyone's brain processes risk the same way. For some people, the fear signal is very strong, making them hesitate or avoid risk altogether. For others, the dopamine rush is so powerful that it pushes them to chase thrill after thrill, sometimes even recklessly. But the good news is this: risk-taking is not destiny, it's trainable. By learning how these systems work, you can teach your brain to strike a better balance between fear and courage. For example, if your amygdala always screams stop, you can practice calming it through deep breathing, exposure to small challenges, or reframing fear as excitement. If your dopamine system drives you to take wild risks, you can learn to slow down and let your prefrontal cortex have the final say. Understanding this brain chemistry is like having the blueprint to your own decision-making process. It puts you back in control. So next time you hesitate before taking a leap, remember, it's not just you being weak or brave. It's your brain running the risk calculation. And once you understand how to guide it, you can start making smarter, bolder, and more meaningful decisions. The myth of fearlessness. We often admire risk takers and think, wow, they must be fearless. But here's the truth. Fearlessness is a myth. Every person, no matter how bold they look on the outside, feels fear. The difference between those who take action and those who freeze is not the absence of fear. It's how they handle it. Fear is not your enemy. It's a messenger. It tells you, hey, you're stepping out of your comfort zone. Pay attention. That racing heart, that sweaty palm, that voice saying don't do it, it's just your brain preparing you for action. In fact, fear can actually sharpen your senses and make you more focused. Think about a firefighter running into a burning building. Do you think they don't feel fear? Of course they do. But they've trained their mind and body to function under pressure, turning fear into energy rather than paralysis. This is where most people go wrong. They try to fight fear, suppress it, or wait for it to disappear before they act. But waiting for fear to go away is like waiting for a storm to pass while standing on the edge of a cliff. You'll be waiting forever. The secret is to act alongside fear. Feel the fear, but don't let it control your decision. Here's a powerful way to reframe fear. Instead of saying, I'm scared, tell yourself, I'm excited. Physiologically, fear and excitement feel almost the same. Rapid heartbeat, quick breathing, heightened alertness. The difference lies in interpretation. When you label the feeling as excitement, your brain switches from survival mode to opportunity mode. This mindset shift can be life-changing. Imagine standing in front of a big opportunity, a job interview, a new investment, a business pitch. Fear will always whisper, "What if you fail?" But courage answers, "What if you succeed?" Smart risk takers are not people who ignore fear. They are people who make friends with it. They use it as fuel, as a compass that points toward growth. The truth is, if something scares you, it's often a sign that it matters, that it has the potential to move you forward. So, don't wait to be fearless. Use fear as your guide. When you feel it, lean in, because that's usually where the biggest growth, the biggest rewards, and the biggest breakthroughs are waiting for you. When most people think about risk, they picture a huge, scary leap, like jumping off a cliff with no parachute. But the smartest way to take risks isn't one giant leap. It's a series of small, calculated steps. This is where the concept of the risk ladder comes in. Imagine a ladder with many rungs. Each rung represents a slightly bigger risk than the last. You don't jump from the ground straight to the top. You climb one step at a time, slowly building confidence and skill. Think about when you first learned to swim. You didn't start by diving into the deep end. First, you sat by the pool and dipped your toes. Then you stood in the shallow water. Then you learned to float. Slowly, you worked your way toward deeper water until eventually you could swim across the pool. Taking smart risks works the same way. Start small. Test the waters. Learn from each step, then move to the next. For example, let's say you want to start your own business. Quitting your job overnight and throwing your life savings into a brand new idea might be too big of a risk at first. Instead, start by testing your product on weekends or after work. Gather feedback, improve your offer, build a small customer base. Once you have proof that your idea works, then take the next step up the ladder, maybe cutting your hours at work or seeking a small investor. This approach does two powerful things. First, it protects you from catastrophic failure, because if one step doesn't work, you can recover and try again. Second, it builds your confidence and emotional resilience. Each success, no matter how small, reinforces the belief that you can handle risk and win. Here's another key insight. Every rung on the risk ladder expands your comfort zone. What felt scary yesterday becomes normal today, and that's how you grow. Successful entrepreneurs, investors, and innovators all follow this pattern. They don't just roll the dice and hope for the best. They build systems to measure risk, manage losses, and scale up step by step. The risk ladder is not about being timid. It's about being strategic. You're still chasing big dreams, but you're doing it in a way that keeps you in the game long enough to win. So, next time you face a big decision, ask yourself, what's the first small step I can take to test this idea? That's your first rung on the ladder. Take it, then take the next. Keep climbing, because each rung brings you closer to the top, and before you know it, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. Calculated courage. Courage. It's a word we often associate with heroes, warriors, or fearless adventurers. But in real life, in business, in relationships, in personal growth, courage doesn't mean being fearless. It means feeling the fear and moving forward anyway. But here's the secret most people miss. The most successful people don't just act courageously, they act strategically. This is what we call calculated courage. Think of calculated courage as risk-taking with a safety net. You're still stepping out of your comfort zone, but you're not jumping blindfolded into the unknown. You've thought it through. You've considered what might go wrong, and you've prepared for it. For example, imagine you're standing at the edge of a river, deciding whether to cross. Blind courage would mean leaping in without knowing how deep the water is. Calculated courage, on the other hand, is taking a stick, testing the depth, maybe tying a rope around yourself, and then crossing. This is exactly how great entrepreneurs, investors, and leaders operate. They gather information, weigh the pros and cons, and prepare for the worst-case scenario. But they still take the leap when the time is right. Here's why this matters. Fear is natural. It's part of our survival system. Your brain is designed to keep you safe, which is why it resists risk and change. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll wait forever. Calculated courage gives you a way to move forward despite the fear, because you know you've minimized the potential downside. Let's say you're thinking about leaving your job to start a business. Blind courage would mean quitting today with no plan. Calculated courage would mean saving up 6 months of expenses, building your idea on the side, and leaving only when you validated your business model. This approach doesn't eliminate fear, but it gives you a rational reason to act in spite of it. And once you act, something magical happens. Your confidence grows. Every time you face a fear and take action, you rewire your brain to see risk not as danger, but as opportunity. The truth is, courage is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And when you combine courage with preparation, you become unstoppable. So here's your challenge. Identify one area in your life where fear has been holding you back. Then ask yourself, what's one small, calculated step I can take today? Maybe it's making that phone call, sending that email, or sharing your idea with someone you trust. The comfort zone trap. Let's talk about something we all secretly love: comfort. Our comfort zone is that warm, cozy place where life feels safe and predictable. There's no stress, no fear, no risk. But here's the catch. Nothing truly life-changing ever happens there. The comfort zone is like a soft bed on a cold morning. The longer you stay, the harder it becomes to get out. And the longer you stay in that comfort, the more life quietly passes you by. Think about it. All growth, all breakthroughs, all extraordinary achievements happen just outside the comfort zone. The problem is, stepping out feels uncomfortable, and our brain hates discomfort. It wants to keep us safe, even if that means keeping us small. Here's a harsh truth. The comfort zone is not actually safe. It's a slow trap. Over time, it can lead to regret, stagnation, and missed opportunities. It keeps you from taking the risks that could change your life. Picture this. You're standing in a circle. That circle is your comfort zone. Outside the circle are all the things you want: financial freedom, exciting experiences, deep relationships, new skills. But to get them, you must step outside the circle. The first step out is always the hardest. It feels scary. Your heart races. Your mind screams, "What if I fail?" But here's the magic. The moment you step out, the circle expands. What was scary yesterday becomes normal today. This is how growth works, one step at a time. Discomfort turning into confidence. Successful people understand this and push themselves out of the comfort zone regularly. They seek new challenges, take on new roles, and put themselves in situations that force them to grow. If you're feeling stuck in life right now, ask yourself, when was the last time I did something that scared me a little? If it's been a while, it's a sign you've been sitting too comfortably for too long. Breaking out of the comfort zone doesn't mean doing something extreme. It just means doing something new. If speaking in public scares you, start by sharing your thoughts in a small group. If starting a business feels overwhelming, start with a side hustle. If networking feels intimidating, reach out to one person this week. Every small step builds momentum, and soon you'll realize that what once terrified you is now a part of who you are. The biggest trap is waiting for the right time to step out. There will never be a perfect moment. You just have to do it scared. Because comfort might feel good now, but growth will feel so much better later. Rewiring your mindset. Now that we understand risk-taking personalities, the million-dollar question is, can we actually change the way we respond to risk? The good news? Yes, we can. Your risk-taking personality is not set in stone. It's shaped by your habits, your environment, and your past experiences. Some people are naturally wired for adventure. Their dopamine system pushes them toward thrill and excitement. That's why they love activities like skydiving, gambling, or running high-stakes businesses. Their brain craves novelty. Others, on the other hand, have a more cautious wiring. Their brain keeps them focused on safety and warns them to analyze every risk carefully. But here's the empowering truth. You are not stuck with the brain you were born with. You can train yourself to become bolder and smarter with risks. And you can also learn to control over-risky behavior if you tend to go too far. Experts say there are 3 broad risk-taking personalities. High-risk takers. They get excited by new challenges, they embrace uncertainty, and they see risk as an opportunity. Moderate risk takers. They take calculated risks. They think things through, but they're not afraid to make bold moves when needed. Low risk takers. They prefer stability, avoid uncertainty, and always look for the safest path forward. Wherever you fall on this spectrum, you can shift your behavior with deliberate practice. If you're naturally risk-averse, start small. Put yourself in mildly risky situations where the downside is minimal, like speaking up in a meeting, trying a new hobby, or investing a small amount of money in learning a skill. When you handle these situations successfully, your brain starts seeing risk as normal, even exciting. Step by step, your comfort zone expands. And if you're a high-risk taker, your challenge is the opposite, learning when not to act impulsively. You need to pause, calculate, and make sure your risks are strategic, not reckless. The goal is not to suppress your adventurous spirit, but to direct it wisely so you avoid unnecessary losses. This is where the real power lies: self-awareness. When you understand your natural tendencies, you can use them as a strength instead of a weakness. The big takeaway here is that risk-taking is a skill, not a gamble. The more you practice, the better you get at judging which risks are worth it and which are not. And once you learn this balance, you become unstoppable. Because life rewards those who step outside their comfort zone and take action. But it rewards them even more when they do it smartly. Turning risk into your superpower. And now we arrive at the heart of the message. Risk is not your enemy. It's your greatest ally if you learn how to work with it. For some, the word risk creates excitement, a rush of adrenaline, a sense of adventure. For others, it sparks fear, sweaty palms, a racing heart, and the urge to run back to safety. But risk is not just a random roll of the dice. It is a skill, a mindset, and most importantly, a bridge. A bridge that takes you from where you are right now to where you dream of being. Throughout this journey, we've seen how our brain processes risk, how dopamine pulls some of us toward thrill, and how fear tries to keep us small. We've explored the three kinds of risk takers: high, moderate, and low, and discovered that no matter where you fall, you can change. The truth is, no one is born fearless. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's action despite fear. Every successful entrepreneur, every daring explorer, every great leader you admire, they weren't lucky. They learned how to step into discomfort, to analyze risk, to fail forward, and to try again until they succeeded. That's the real art of risk-taking. If you're someone who avoids risk, your mission is to stretch your comfort zone step by step, day by day. Start with small challenges, celebrate small wins, and let your brain slowly learn that risk is not danger, it's growth. And if you're someone who chases risk too easily, your job is to slow down and choose wisely. Ask yourself, is this risk helping me move toward my bigger vision, or is it just feeding my impulse? A little discipline will turn you from a gambler into a strategist. This balance between boldness and wisdom is where true success lives. The real victory is not just taking risks, but taking smart risks, the kind that open doors, create opportunities, and lead to meaningful growth. So the next time you face a tough decision, whether it's starting a business, changing careers, investing in yourself, or chasing a dream, pause and ask yourself two questions. Is this risk worth taking? And how can I take it wisely? Because your entire life can change with one bold decision, one leap of faith made with clarity and courage. Risk is not a coin toss. It's not about luck. It's an art you can master, a muscle you can train. And when you do, you unlock the door to an extraordinary life. So go ahead, take that step, make that move, chase that dream. Risk is not there to scare you. Risk is there to grow you. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep stepping into the unknown.